Think about where you were exactly 1 year ago. And my guess is wherever you are right now is not anything you imagined it would be, good or bad. Today I'm gonna tell you a wild story about how I met Chase Wark while I do his race, the Hotdish. Let's go! For those of you new, my name is JP. I'm a teacher and filmmaker in northern Minnesota, but today we're in the Driftless region of southeastern Minnesota for Chase Wark's the Hotdish race. Is there anything more Minnesotan than a race called the Hotdish? Welcome to the Bootleg Miles. Well, that got off to a really festive start. I missed the breakaway on the opening climb, but now I have found myself in the same position I was at Granny's gravel grinder. Because at the bottom of the very first precarious descent, I came upon someone from my group that had gone high side. I'm pretty sure he dislocated his shoulder and was quite out of sorts. So I just stopped and called the race director and was like, this isn't an ambulance situation, but somebody needs to come get this homie. And so they just drove away. And I am firmly in DFL once again. And honestly, there's no question about stopping. Because after my accident 2 years ago, I have huge sympathy for any kind of a big crash. And yeah, it was good to hang out with this guy till help could come. And now we're gonna see if I can go chase people down once again. So I came down here this past week to work on a project with Ben Delaney and USA Cycling. And you'll get to learn more about that project in the next week or so. But when I got to Chase Wark's house on Thursday, I had a notification from my phone showing me a picture from exactly 1 year ago. And that's when I met Chase Wark. In some ways, nothing has changed since that picture. I'm still putting out podcasts every week. I'm working on another Mata Hay project. And I love riding my bike. But in other ways, a lot of things have changed. At the time that I was here with Chase, I was 5 or 6 weeks into really intense rehab for a mountain bike accident and brain injury that had happened 1 year ago. This bike ride that Chase and I went on to Quick Trip to sample some donuts, because who doesn't love a good gas station ride? That was done at Zone 1. And at that time, that was about my max. That weekend with Chase, I got to know him on a totally different level. I felt like my interviewing process went up a notch, and I got to see who he really was. I watched him play Monopoly with my son for 3 hours. For no other reason than that I had a lot of gear to put away. And he thought my kid would have a lot of fun. This is a banger of the course, by the way. But that day that Chase and I hung out, we also recorded a podcast. And to be honest, something amazing happened during that podcast. Something that I think is the best story you're gonna hear in the Off the Front series we're working on. But you'll have to wait till August for that one. Chase and I stayed in contact though. Fast forward a year on, and I'm in Emporia just a couple weeks ago, doing things like sitting at the Gravel Cycling Hall of Fame induction ceremony at a table with Chase, Ali Tetrick, Seaman Norgard Svensson, I'm interviewing Bobby for a podcast, Bobby Wintle at Merchant Cycles. And I'm having conversations with Crystal Kovacs about how we can better build a community in the gravel world. And all of that happened not because of a singular big move. In fact, not at all. I just tried to show up and honor people. And I think when we do that, we do our best work. And eventually the doors will open for us. So when I pulled into Chase Wark's driveway 2 days ago and realized it was exactly a year since we had met and so much had changed, it kind of blew my mind. And my guess is if you think about where you were a year ago, good or bad, it'll blow your mind too. My gravel angel, Jerry Trotter, found me again. I came up behind him, passed him, said hey, and a minute later, he had chased me down and hands me a mini nut roll. If you know, you know. All right, I'm terrible at these like end of race things and how this all ended up. Here's what you need to know. As long as I have owned a power meter, which is like 10 years, I have never done a race where the intensity is as high as I got it to go in this race. I went as deep as I have ever gone. Actually, it's the deepest I've ever gone in a race, and that was really great. My place, I finished 23rd. Who cares? Some of you were like, well, what if you didn't stop? Well, then I would have ended up like 13th, and I would have been kind of in the mix with the chase group. So again, who cares? Doesn't matter. It was a really great day. I went crazy empty during the race. When the race was finished, I just laid on the ground and stared straight ahead off into the void for like 5 minutes. Chase came over and tried to talk to me a couple times, and I just said, I can't talk. I was so empty, but like in the best possible way that you rarely get to experience. So that was really, really fun. So that's kind of how everything ended. Okay, back to the video. Okay, I want to talk about what happened at the beginning of the race, because I think there's a lot there for us. So it's been a crazy start to the summer because of traveling and projects and other things. I've only seen my kids and my family and my wife 2 days since before Unbound. And so it's been a wild 3 weeks. And my family actually encouraged me to stay one more day on this trip so that I could do this race, because they know that I really love chase. They also know that I love races with a lot of climbing in them. And they also know that like after my accident, like my fitness is finally starting to come around, and it's really fun to be able to go and do well at races. As the race started, I was really stoked. Like I climbed well enough to be just off the front group. In group 2, we were about 10 seconds back, and we were working really well together and keeping that front group close as we went into that first descent. And if I'm totally honest with how I felt today and how much I was looking forward to this, I did not want to stop. When I saw the guy crash and the way it happened, my first instinct was that I didn't want to stop and help. But ultimately, I thought of when I crashed 2 years ago and how I was by myself. And I just thought about how scary that was. And to have to try and deal with that. And somebody probably would have come and helped this guy, but I just knew that I had to stop. And I don't know, I was like 20 minutes, 25 minutes that I sat there with him until a car came from the race organization to pick him up and take him to the emergency room. And like, I don't have footage of it. I was going after the race. I didn't really have plans to film until things kind of fell apart, and I just had my GoPro in my pocket. So like, I tell you that because our country's kind of a shit show right now. There's a lot going on. It's hard to turn on the news and not freak out a little bit, no matter where you stand on things. But we can always be nice to those around us. And usually it's not convenient to do it, but we should do it anyways. Because It's gonna make our day better, and it's gonna help those around us be better. That's ultimately how my mental health story really got started with, was a bunch of people around me where it was inconvenient of them to help, and they did it anyways. And ultimately, it saved my life. So be kind to those around you. Do the inconvenient things and be there for them when you maybe don't want to. Your day will still probably go pretty good. Thanks for hanging out. For sure, come put the Hotdish gravel race on your calendar next year. It is gorgeous. It is in the Driftless region. It is totally worth your time and journey here. And I'm not saying that just because Work Cycling Services puts on the event and they also happen to sponsor me. It is a banger of an event. Have a great day. Appreciate you being here. And most of all, remember, you are loved.
Have you ever worked at a quick trip?
No, I almost did last fall. I was like, I may need to earn some extra income. And the quick trip's right across the street from my house. I'm like,
Yeah.
I could just walk there.
Yeah.